Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and it's Sunday afternoon, so that means we are Scraplift Crafternooning. That's right, the tribe are getting together and we're scraplifting this layout from Amanda Leckie. And it is a cute little baby first Christmas one, but unfortunately I don't have cute little baby Christmas photos, so I'm doing a memory photo. And I am going to be a little bit different in mine, however the main elements will be reflected throughout the layout. So I'm using these amazing scrapbooking coach papers that I have. I just love the colours in them and they reflect the photos so well. This is a page that I've been wanting to create for a while. The photos have been sitting there for a long time. And I just could not find the right inspiration or the right colour palette, or I don't know what it was, but I finally realised that today everything is matching in well and I can get this page finally done. I'm going to use this chipboard title here because Amanda has a big first Christmas long title, so I've got the word remember, and I'm painting it up with some weathered paint, distress acrylic paint, so that it has a solid base on which to marry into the layout. And I do like to use the acrylic paints in the distressing so that they suit the colours on my layouts. And weathered paint is really a neutral colour and it just blends beautifully with a whole range of different colours. So it often is my go-to these days. Just using a paintbrush to quickly brush over the paint and colour up that chipboard because I don't want raw chipboard. I know some people use raw chipboard. Sometimes I do, not very often. I like to distress it or colour it or, do something to it so that it blends in with the layout nicely. So I'm just adding in the paint here and that gives it its base to work with. It is the weathered paint, distress paint. And then I'm also going to use some Tim Holtz distress spritz here. And the one I'm using is called Vintage Photo, and I'm just splattering that across the top just to give it a little bit of extra vintage appeal and also to be just another design feature on the layout. So I'm just going to do that and then I'm going to set it aside to dry while I get the rest of the layout together. So you saw me cut the 1-inch frame. That is what I like to do. I like to frame all my layouts and then I'm going to lay down my base. And I took 1/4 of an inch off both sides so that it fits into that frame with just a hint of the darker colour behind. And I'm using the rest of that darker colour paper to matte my photos, but also to, you'll see later, to do some punching out on some paper punching to build up my, my clusters. Sorry about that, mental block there. So anyway, this is, as I said, Scraplift Crafternoon, and we do lift layouts every Sunday. The amazing Tara, who is known as the Paper Snob, coordinates us ladies into this amazing crew, and we all take turns finding layouts that we can all scrap lift. And as I said, today this is Amanda Leckie's, and she is Amanda Creates on YouTube. She is a fellow Australian, which is great, and so you can go and check her out because all her details will be in the description box down below. Now these photos are of my 3 daughters and they're all grown up, as you know from videos if you've been watching, and if you haven't, go check out some. You'll see them all grown up now. These photos were taken, I'd probably say 2015 maybe. 2015 when we went to Vivid, and it was the last weekend that the monorail was running in Sydney. So the monorail used to loop the city and it was always a treat to take the kids on the monorail, but unfortunately they tore it down and now it's just a memory. So it's interesting because as I was showing it, like as I was working on this, my daughter came in, my middle daughter, the one there in the bright pink jacket, and she said, "Oh wow, that's history." She said, "That doesn't exist anymore." And I said, "That's right, it doesn't exist anymore," and that's why the photos are important, because you'll remember that you got to ride something that was part of a Sydney landscape for such a long time, but now no longer exists. So It was a very rainy night that night and cold and misty, but we'd gone to Vivid to see the light display. That was the year that they had the Doctor Who on, and I was determined to see it that night. It was only on for a very limited time, and regardless of the weather, I wanted to see it. It was cold, it was wet, it was miserable, but we still had a great time. So this is why I'm so glad that I'm finally getting these photos onto a layout and into the album. So Amanda has got a double banner in the top right hand corner of her layout. She has 2 photos and I've used 2 photos, and she has flowers as her clusters, so I'm using flowers for my clusters, and these are Vicky Burton flowers. You may recognize them, I've been using them a bit. One sheet has certainly extended itself quite across a lot of layouts, which is quite good. And if you're on a budget, which we all seem to be these days with the finances the way they are and the economies the way they are, this is a great way of extending your stash. So I'm putting in my chipboard layer there. That's like Amanda. She had a big layer title along the bottom there. So that's what I've done. I put my flower clusters around my photos like she has, and the 2 banners and the 2 photos. And that's about pretty much where our layouts coincide. Then, of course, her photos were smaller than my photos. They fitted nested together, whereas I've got one under the other. But it's still the key elements. So what I'm doing here is I'm just popping up some of the flowers to give some dimension and depth to the layout, and I like to do that. I like lumpy bumpy layouts. That's the tactile paper junkie in me. I just like my layouts to be a bit tactile, and I'm just layering them up accordingly. Amanda does have the flowers all the way around hers, and so that's what I've done with mine, to make sure that they are somewhat similar in look. And to bulk up those clusters, I'm now using the rest of this paper that was used for the background and the frame and my photo mounting, and that's allowing me to put the leaf structure into the clusters and build the depth of them and height of them. And that's just an easy way of padding out your clusters, is by using some paper punches and adding leaf and foliage to your flower clusters. And it's always good to bulk up your clusters so they look full and not just stuck there on the page. I am putting them over the photo. That's okay. It is the Nouveau Glue, so I know that it's going to be okay on there. And even if it wasn't, they are digital prints. I could just reprint them if I wanted to. But that's how I'm building my clusters. I like how the colours are all complementary to the colours in the photos, and it's all come together quite nicely. The other thing, I'm using some Nouveau drops here just to finish off my banners and create that effect of odd numbers. Even though the banners are even numbered, the joins are odd. Now to finish off, I'm going to add some more of that Distress spritz, and I'm just going to splatter that across the layout. Amanda has some ink splatters on hers. In the gold, I'm using the Distress spritz called, as I said, Vintage Photo. It's one of my favourite ones at the moment. And I also added a little bit of journaling because I wanted some context to the photo. So here's how mine has come together. I love that we get together every Sunday and scraplift another artist and support our small creators out there. So if you're interested in having your work showcased by us, by all means reach out to me and I'll check out a layout and put it to the group to see if they're ready to scraplift you. I can't wait to go and see what everybody else in the group has been creating today. There will be up to 11 different layouts for you to check out. All the details will be down in the box down below. Make sure you go and leave some love with everybody. Give me a thumbs up. YouTube loves those thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that little subscribe button down there in the corner. Happy scrapping until next time, lovely people. And here is my next video recommendation for you. And I'll see you next Sunday at the next Scraplift Crafternoon. Have a great week.